It's 5:40 a.m. here. I woke up super early today, like 5 o'clock. You know, my sleep is a hit and miss thing, and since I couldn't do a live last night, I did one yesterday morning. It's now Tuesday, so this is my 5th day of doing lives. Still super excited. This is actually fun. I'm gonna do a longer one today as well in the afternoon. So let's see if anybody tunes in or logs in soon here. I'm gonna talk more about that stuff. Yeah, but like I said, I felt bad because I missed my live last night. Well, I didn't have anything scheduled, but I mentioned in my morning live that I'll do one in the afternoon. But since my daughter was rehabbing her knee and I went to the gym with her, so that's why I didn't have honestly time, and then I had to work. But I'm hoping that I can stick with this twice a day schedule. Hello, History of Mystery. Good to see you. Good morning or good evening, wherever you are. You probably are not here in Scandinavia where I am, where it's super early in the morning. But the funny thing is that if you look outside, it's 5:30. The sun rises at what, 5 in the summer here? So that's crazy. I mean, it's light outside. Luckily, I have my blackouts, and I can sleep and AC in my apartment, which not too many people have here because summers usually don't get that hot. But anyhow, so wanted to start this live, and like I mentioned, I'm planning on doing another one today. I actually have a couple of back-to-back meetings, so what I was thinking of doing is that I'll run this in the background while I talk to my meeting participants. The other one of those is my weekly coaching client. Another one is my social media guy. He's in Malaysia, and my client, he's in the US on the East Coast. So I have that thing going on. So I was thinking of doing that. Just let this stream run in the background and see if anybody's interested. Anyhow, so the way I normally start these lives in the morning is that I go through my day and I want to make sure that I have my signal and noise set up. What's important today, what's not. So today's agenda is as follows. Again, because I think we all are overwhelmed by the amount of information that's out there. So 10% applies to you, block 90%. Beginning of every day, ask yourself, what is important today? And then just do that and make sure that you say no to everything else, because everything else is just noise. People are just lost. And I think it's super hard to understand what really is your thing and your agenda for any given day. What about me? Why do I just preach about it? What I just like lay the cards on the table? So my agenda for today is I have 2 meetings. Those are priority. I have a script to write for Thursday. I'm recording my next long YouTube video on Thursday. The schedule is such that well, actually, now that I mentioned it, am I supposed to freaking release it on? What the hell? I'm glad I started talking about it. I'm supposed to release it on Thursday. So I actually need to record it tomorrow. Well, that's a good thing. Yeah, I have this schedule here. So, okay, let me put it this way. So what happens is that you won't be able to see it, but the point is that I have a weekly content calendar, and this is something that my social media guy put together for me, and I plan on sticking with this. Otherwise, there's no point of having a schedule if you can't follow it. But yeah, now that I think about it, I'm supposed to be done on Thursday. Fuck. Okay, that's good. That's fine. So that means that I definitely need to finalize my script and record on Wednesday. So therefore, therefore it's released on or uploaded on Thursday, because I'm supposed to have 2 long new YouTube videos every week, and I will. So shorts come basically on every day. There's a long LinkedIn post and an Instagram carousel today, followed by a custom short Wednesday. Yeah, I'm just going through this in my mind. So my bad if this sounds really random. It's 5:40 in the morning, so I'm kind of like still a little groggy from that lack of sleep, but it's okay. It's good that I woke up early because I have plenty on my plate. I need to definitely work on that script now and get going. But the other thing I wanted to do, let me actually do this. Let me extend this a little bit. This is just too short. Man. Like that. There we go. The other thing I wanted to do is that usually every morning when I get ready for the day, I start by looking at my diary, meaning I have this WhatsApp chat with myself that I started. Let me see. My WhatsApp notes go back to end of 23, so almost 2 years now. Plus then I have some other notes that are in my notepads or notebooks. But what I usually do in the morning is that I start going through some of my old notes. And I don't know if you guys have your own diary. There's only one person alive right now, but whoever's out there, so just think about this, not 3 people. So think about this. I would highly recommend everyone to have their own personal diary. This is not just for girls. You know, you always hear your sister or your mother or whoever, girlfriend, having a diary. I think every one of us should have one. My way of doing it is that I take a lot of notes nowadays. If I'm watching somebody else's content, I take notes. I use AI to summarize the conversation for me. Sometimes I record clips, voice clips, and ask AI to transcribe that into text, and then I plug it into my chat with myself. That's my WhatsApp conversation with myself. So I record videos, there's pictures, there's text, and then I revisit those. And you would be surprised how powerful that stuff is. Going back to your old notes with yourself. Let's say I'm like this morning, I can give you just some examples. The desktop version of WhatsApp here, search, because you might want to go back and you look for a picture or some notes. So the good thing really, the benefit is that obviously this is a no-brainer, but pen and paper versus something in WhatsApp form, you know, you can use AI to search for certain topics, or even the search function in WhatsApp itself. So now I can only go back to 25th of April using my laptop. Like I said, your phone has all the records, so you can go all the way back to the beginning of time, so to say. But I wrote back to myself on the 25th of April in 2024, and these are just random notes. Don't create a media business. Try to put a media business around your life. If you think about it, I mean, this is one of the reasons why I started creating content a long time ago. First of all, like I mentioned, I wanted to document my life so that I would leave a legacy for my own kids. Whenever they, let's say at some point they have something they struggle with and I'm no longer here, or they want to start a business, I want to make sure that I document my lessons so that maybe at some point those could be useful to my kids if they ever want to use and watch that stuff. The other thing was that I wanted to pivot again as an entrepreneur, so start something new. And I just realized I felt like an idiot because I had not understood the power of social media, which is basically free distribution, if you think about it. Me talking to potentially millions or billions of people. Obviously, my audience is not that big right now. I understand that completely, but the potential is there. So think about the cost and hurdles you would have to go through, let's say 10, 20 years ago. Even like go back to 80s, 90s, early 2000 for you to put your face out there and deliver your message, no matter what that is, to everybody out there. It's crazy. It would have cost you millions, tens of millions. Now my potential audience is the whole planet. Of course, I'm not going to capture that because there's plenty of competition. So we all fight for the attention. But the point is this. if you run a business, and the more AI and the more technology we have, I'm the biggest believer in everybody having their personal brand, because that's your unique fingerprint. That's how you identify yourself, separate yourself from the rest of the pack. And there's nothing like this. This stuff is free. I've been able to grow from 0 to whatever, 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, I know that's nothing in a global context. And I'm going through this phase where I try to reprioritize and refocus my channel. So in the short term, I might lose some subscribers and my vanity metrics might not be that good. But still, it doesn't matter to me. It's the long-term picture that I'm trying to pay attention to. So that's what that comment really meant, was that don't create a media business. Do what you do and document your life using the modern technology, because you will never regret creating that personal brand for yourself. That's how I look at it. Lessons from this week: document it. So do shit, talk about it, do more shit, talk about that too. That's my philosophy nowadays. And I'm just so excited about these lives because I've been always with my social media guy. I'm like, okay, how can I, is this on topic? Is this off topic? Now when I have these lives, I can go and rant about basically anything that I want. It doesn't need to be business or real estate coaching or real estate investing related. It can be about my passion areas, my kids, my training or my nutrition or whatever that I do. So that's why I just like this format. And I don't know if this, let me lift this up a little bit. It looks weird. I don't know if this vertical live is the thing to, or the way to go, but at least for now, I mean, it's super fun. I have this tripod that I'm not sure if it's the best for this thing, but anyhow, it is what I have. I think going back to notes, 10% is your message, 90% is the context around the message. Why? People start paying attention to what you say when you have proof. What does proof mean? Whatever Elon Musk says becomes a hit. Why? He has to prove he's the richest man on the planet. So basically that's the whole idea about the message and context. So if I say the same thing, if I say something smart, nobody really pays attention because people don't know my name. But if Elon goes to the bathroom, he's like, I'm taking a dump and tweeting about it, millions of people like it, it's a good thing in their mind. So he has to prove that he should be listened to and followed. I'm not the biggest fan of Elon. I'm not, well, I don't have anything bad or necessarily good about, I mean, let's put it this way. I respect his achievements a lot. Politically, I mean, I don't pay attention, but the reason why it's so good to use him is because of that proof. Like I said, he's the richest man on the planet, so he's obviously the measuring stick for many. So that's why it's relevant in my opinion. Evidence gives you the confidence. If you have done the thing, you can be certain. People always talk about self-confidence. Where does that come from? It always comes from the past. If I've been training for 32 years at the gym, I can go to any commercial gym, powerlifting, weightlifting gym in the world, and I feel pretty confident. I know how the equipment work and I know how that stuff goes. But what happens if I go skydiving? Never done it. Or scuba diving. I don't have a lot of confidence. So people, when they think about starting a business or starting something new, they always like, well, I don't have the confidence for that stuff. Well, of course you don't, because you haven't done it in the past. So take the baby steps. Ask yourself, what's the smallest action I can take? And then start doing it, because that's how you build confidence. You will never have confidence if you wait at home for it to magically arrive. Yeah, if you can, I'm just reading the notes to myself, whoever is online. I was just saying earlier that having a diary that you can go back to, revisit and reread your old notes is just so freaking powerful. Not just taking notes. When I had a corporate job, I used to attend these training sessions and seminars and whatnot, all that stuff. And I took notes like crazy because I felt that I guess I was obligated in a way. And I understood that it has a direct link to learning, but I never read those notes because I don't think, maybe I wasn't interested. But now I find myself reading my old notes all the time. And every single time I go back to an old note, especially the personal ones, I get something out of it. I get more out of it. It goes so deep. Try it. I mean, if somebody had told me 10 years ago that this would be as powerful as it is today, I would have said complete bullshit. I was like, no, I don't have to do that. I know myself. No, I didn't know myself well enough, even though I've always been very self-aware. Okay, so I started my day with an energy drink because I just woke up at 5. Went to bed, I don't know, 11:30 maybe, midnight. Had a hard time falling asleep. Usually I'm a bad sleeper because I wake up early. And if I wake up early, I can't usually fall back asleep. But when I go to bed at night, I fall asleep almost immediately. Do we track the right metrics? What does that mean? Lagging versus leading. Lagging metrics, they are the vanity metrics, the results. The leading metrics are the inputs, the actions. This has been one of the biggest things in my life when I started being less so-called end result oriented and started tracking what my inputs are, because on a long enough time horizon, your inputs will equal your outputs. What does that mean in practice? Let's use being healthy or being fit as an example. If I go to the gym, I can't expect me to look very different after a month. So my inputs, meaning the actions I take, the weightlifting, the hard work, all the sets to failure, they compound. And over a long enough time horizon, my inputs will equal my outputs. Short term, I might be struggling. I might not get the results I want, but long term, that's when the outputs, meaning the results, will always equal the inputs. So therefore, I pay less attention to the end result nowadays, or the outcome. And I'm very, very action focused only, because I know that if I struggle now, I can always zoom out. A month or a year goes by, it doesn't really matter as long as I have the right winning actions on a daily basis. And then I can be certain that if the time horizon is long enough, I'll always get what I deserve. Many people suffer from the shiny object syndrome when they try to hop from one opportunity to another because they don't have patience to wait for the results. It's like staying on that pitch black highway or freeway when you drive from New York to LA. People tell you in the beginning that, look, there are 5 different freeways you can take. They all will take you to LA, but you have no clue. There's no road signs, there's no traffic lights, there's no street lights, there's nothing. So it's just pitch black all the time. Imagine starting in New York, not knowing how far LA is from you. Yeah, constant driving, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days, what? But imagine how long that feels when you have no clue. There's no indication around you if you're on the right path. Then people start doubting themselves, right? But knowing that you will eventually get there if you just stay on that right freeway. And then there are distractions. Those, every now and then, maybe somebody tells you that, hey, take this shortcut, do that. And those are the shiny objects. Like in normal life, people start investing in crypto, then in real estate, then in stocks and mutual funds and whatnot. And when it gets hard, then people switch. It's no different. Who am I to say what to do? Nobody. I just know what works for me. Use if useful. If you think it's valuable, then just use it. But if you have a different model, by all means, follow that. Again, I'm going through my notes to myself, and this is usually the way I start my day in the morning, when I try to get my head clear and understand what's today's signal. And then once I know that, that's usually 1 or 2 things, and then everything else is just noise. And I try to do everything in my power to focus on that. Focus on my signal for any given day. What's the definition of infinite versus finite? If you want to win in the long term, you need to stay in the game. All the greatest games are infinite. You don't win in marriage. The point is to stay married. You don't win in health. The point is to stay healthy. You don't win in business. The point is to stay in business. By default, winning is staying in the game. This is huge. This came from Naval Ravikant when I was watching one of the podcasts that he was in. And it's been one of the, I would say, one of the defining principles in my life, infinite versus finite. And I know that I've been very good at playing infinite games in the past because I have a lot of patience. Sometimes it's hard though. It's hard for everybody. It's been hard for me. And when my going gets tough, I always revert back to my training days, my fitness. I've been doing it for 32 years. And I've been able to delay gratification. I know that short term, I don't get really short term results. It's in decades, basically, how you measure your progress. Business is the same way, but it's harder because there's money involved. So if you're an entrepreneur and you struggle like crazy in the beginning and there's no money coming in anywhere, how do you stay motivated every morning saying that, yeah, winning is staying in the game, infinite versus finite? It's fucking hard when you have to pay the bills. And that's where the shiny object syndrome kicks in so easily and people quit. If you have the financial buffer, every time I start a new business, this is my third one that I started from scratch, literally with zero past or previous knowledge or experience or contacts. What I refer to as my coaching business. When I started this so-called online content creation thing and started coaching other entrepreneurs, especially in real estate. So I always have this rule of thumb that it's going to take me at least 12 months to make any money. So I'm mentally prepared for that type of a quiet period. I need to make sure that I have those reserves. If not, then I have to have a side hustle that pays the bills. But people expect to make truckloads of money, day 1 or day 30. Good if you can, but most people, that's not realistic for them. So that's why you got to make sure that you have the buffer to stay in the game. And then when you start making money, you got to make sure that your fixed expenses stay really, really low. Yesterday morning, we had a really super interactive session. Maybe it was triggered by me making breakfast at the same time and talking about nutrition and whatnot. Training tips. So if anybody has any questions, anything, or just you want to say whatever is on your mind, please feel free to use the chat function. What else should I highlight? Keep making notes. Remind it to myself. I will. To grow a coaching or education business, almost all the 9-figure companies use events. It's way easier than hiring new coaches. What that means is that if you want to scale in this business, you're in the education space, unless you can break your value chain into tiny little skill sets and hire very skill set specific coaches and then offer that very niche type service, I think the only way to grow your business is to do events. Nowadays you can do technology, makes it possible for you to do all kinds of stuff online. If you want to deliver your message, you can just if you run your marketing campaign, you create attention and then you convert the attention. Yesterday I watched this podcast about CRO. What that means is that it's the click rate optimization, meaning you have your landing page or your piece of marketing online, how well you can optimize that so that it adds value to people's lives, so it's easy to understand. It provides clear benefits, the dream outcome, so to say. It's fast, intuitive, and easy. You can double your CRO, the click rate optimization, easily with certain tactics. And since the cost of marketing, cost of acquiring customers is only going up, how you can make sure that people click and you can convert the attention that you first create. Because every business boils down to this. So you got, if you're running a business or you whatever, you want to get clients or customers, you have your personal training thing or you sell flowers online, whatever. The first step is always to create attention. That's called letting people know that you exist, right? So how can I create attention in the best possible way? And you can create social media content, you can run paid ads, you can contact strangers and contact people you know. And contacting means texting, emailing, cold calling, whatever, right? So create attention is always the first step. Then the second step is how well you can convert the attention. You don't need a big audience if you have a very specific audience that you can monetize. Many people think that, you know, some people brag about how many how many, what is it called, followers you have on Instagram. You know, I have 100,000. Well, I have 50,000. I have 200,000. But it doesn't matter how many followers you have if you can't convert those people into paying clients. Of course, in the eyes of advertisers, for instance, you know, if you want to get promotional deals, it makes a lot of sense. But if you're in the business of converting the attention to paying clients, meaning create attention, convert the attention, and then deliver to that same attention, those are the three steps. It's really important to understand that the conversion rate is, and the efficiency of your conversion has a direct correlation with how much money you make. And it took me forever to understand this because I didn't really have to pay attention to it really. And to me, back in the day, all marketing was just basically the same. It's, you know, what attention was just attention. And I was like, I didn't really understand what good advertising looked like and what good landing pages looked like. Now that I'm doing it from a completely different angle, I've been forced to, and I've been fortunate that I get to pay attention to that. And I have somebody who helps me with that stuff. But when I started my real estate business in San Diego, back then it was all about how I can make sure that my website shows up organically on the first page of Google results, the SEO, search engine optimization. Now people talk about YouTube SEO because YouTube is the second most popular search engine in the world and all of that. But somehow you have to first create the attention. What are your suggestions on approaching pricing strategies? Okay, so in regards to, can you give me more specifics as far as your business goes, pricing strategies? But I can, before you answer, I'll give you mine overall. You know, if I categorize pricing into two different buckets, you know, do I go higher or lower? That's what I mean. So many people, when starting entrepreneurs, I think make the mistake of positioning their product or service such that they look at the competition and then they're like, okay, here's what everybody else offers. Here's the feature set. This is the average price. So my value proposition is as follows: more for less. I offer a little more for a little less. The problem is that you're really fighting in the mushy middle where all the competition is. And over time, the only way to compete is to lower your price. So you should either start by offering something more premium. You can, like Elon Musk says, that you can offer a lot of good for very few people or very little good for a large amount of people. See what I mean? And that means that you're either very premium, so you understand what rich people need. They always pay for time and convenience. So offer something that they truly need and raise the price. Be very specific. That's the whole point. You start by understanding what the people need, what's value to them. And then you start with your narrow niche and you price it accordingly. Okay? Or then you go the Walmart route, basically, the Costco route. That efficiency is the key in all operations. But small-time entrepreneurs have a really hard time doing that because they don't have the experience or the scale. So I think in the beginning, the best strategy is to understand what the so-called premium segment needs, offer that, and charge accordingly. I don't know if I answered your question. Matt said hi. Hey, Matt. That's how I would approach it personally. So Don't try to boil the ocean. So if you have your pie, let's say your market looks like this, like this circle, right? Don't try to take a super big piece of that pie. In the beginning, it's perfectly fine. Okay, I'll give you an example. So personal training is a good example, okay? Thank you, Quantum Leap event. So I'll give you another practical example. Let's say I'm a personal trainer. I offer personal training services and I live in California, in Southern California, in whatever, LA, San Diego counties. And in the beginning, I start advertising, creating attention by talking about me being a Southern California player or personal trainer. And I offer this online coaching service, plus I'm available in these areas for some personal training sessions too. And in the beginning, I don't really understand what that personal training market really looks like. So I'm kind of like one of those one-size-fits-all type players, more for less. But what I would really want to do, if I wanted to do it perfectly now, is that I would look at that whole market and like narrow it down. Instead of like going county by county, I would be like, okay, how can I first become a personal trainer in San Diego County and maybe in one zip code? Maybe I want to go premium. I'm La Jolla, okay? A wealthy area in San Diego County, if you don't know. Anyhow, what is it that these people in La Jolla need? Okay, who's my target customer? Maybe it's a 40 to 50-year-old stay-at-home mom who drives a white Tesla. And value to them means that they have hard time eating right, finding the right groceries, and training right. So then I put my value chain together such, meaning the value understanding in the eyes of that La Jolla client, that, okay, here's your shopping list. Here's how where do you shop, in which grocery store? I break it down so that I can add tremendous amounts of value to that person. So when they are looking for a personal trainer in that market, I'm the only one who shows up on their radar, because I talk about the exact same thing that they need in their local market. Yes, my addressable market is really small, but once I get traction, I become the biggest fish in that tiny little pond, then I start expanding. And that's how I would run my business. That's how I would start with the pricing strategy in the beginning. So like price it higher. And when you are that person that the La Jolla stay-at-home mom needs, they're willing to pay for it because you look like the only option in the marketplace. Does that make sense? Instead of being like something for everybody. I don't know if your pricing strategy question was product or service related or what industry, but that's how I would do it. It's hard though. I can give you an example from my life. Insightful, thank you. When I started this, and sometimes in the beginning you don't know who your target customer is. Okay, I'm throwing myself under the bus here a little bit. When I started a year and 3 months ago, I just had this passion that I want to help people. I know that I know a lot of things about, first of all, personal development. I've been training for a long time. I know something about nutrition, but business is really my passion. And I know that I can help most of the people on this planet, but whether people see it that way is a different story, and how we can create the attention and convert the attention, I don't know, okay? So I start, and I'm like, in the beginning, I start talking about health, wealth, and happiness. And I'm like, okay, these long form YouTube videos are all about that. And I always had this feeling that I'm not really specific enough. And I just didn't understand who my target client really was. And then after almost a year, this took place 4 weeks ago. So I started redefining my ICP. And then I'm like, okay, so I really have this long history in real estate, in doing it in several countries, having several companies, doing all kinds of things in real estate. And I still have this passion to help people and coach. So I'm like, okay, I really have to narrow my niche down to just real estate coaching. So that's what I started doing. So it's like in the beginning, I was clueless. I just wanted to talk about all those passion areas of mine, right? And I still think I can add value in terms of personal development in your life or somebody else's life. But it's difficult when you want to create that image or build that brand in the beginning. Think about Gary Vee. I mean, some of you might know Gary Vaynerchuk. He started when YouTube was really young. He started making wine videos when he built his dad's, liquor company from the ground up. He was known as the wine guy. He had daily wine videos on YouTube, literally, just wine, very focused. And now he talks about parenting, he talks about how to grow his social media marketing agency and how to do this and how to do that. It's all about his passion areas, New York Jets and, going to, I don't know, thrift stores and collecting cards and We Friends and, all of that stuff. So he was very specific in the beginning, and now he's just, because he has that huge personal brand, so he's now more free and open to talk about all of that stuff. My strategy right now is as follows. As far as my tailored content goes, my long form videos and my shorts are very business specific. And then this is why this live feed is such a perfect platform for me, because I want to talk about all kinds of stuff. Tomorrow I might want to talk about t-shirts, how they fit or don't fit or whatever. Or I read through my notes to myself, and that's not always real estate related or real estate business related. So that's why I think having a platform like this where you can just go, I don't know, just off topic easily is just the way to go. Roy Tom, hey, love your videos. Thank you. Appreciate it. Any questions? I'm going to be here online for another maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. Then I'm going to get so hungry and I need to make breakfast because I woke up early. So if you don't have questions, I'm going to keep reading through my notes. Yeah, okay, so here's what I also wrote, actually, to your previous question, if that person is still online. Quantum Leap event. Niche down. The more generic your coaching business, the more difficult it is to productize your service. So niche down. You can, what did I write? You can be experts for the specific niches and grow that way. You can be an expert for one specific niche and then grow that way. Okay, so this is exactly what ironic, right? I just had that rant about how to be specific, and then this is actually what I wrote to myself on May 5th. I could have just, again, a great example. Reading through my notes is a different thing, but then understanding at that point, had I seen this note in September, I wouldn't have been ready to refocus my channel, so to say. It takes time, and that's why volume is so important in the beginning, when you have to do a lot of video. I mean, I've been doing a lot of volume over the first 12 months or so, just to make sure that I get better as far as being in front of the camera and making content, so that I can then understand what works and what doesn't. And I'm not sure if anything works, quote unquote works, but I know what works better than something else. Does that make sense? $160,000 people died today. I didn't. I get to fight another day. I get to fight another fight. Be grateful. That's what I wrote on the same day, on May 5th, 24. Think about it. 160,000 people died today. You didn't. I didn't. You get to fight another day. Fight another fight. Stay in the game. Stay in the fucking game. Keep documenting your life. I will. At least this way, and these are recorded and saved by YouTube, so that's perfect. And I don't do any optimization with the titles or thumbnails. What I do is that after the fact, I have this vidIQ extension on my Chrome browser, and then once the video is uploaded, then it gives me some title suggestions. I guess it runs through the recording, and then I just click on the one that gives me the quote unquote highest score. And the thumbnail, whenever it has some screenshots ready, I just pick one. I just keep this as raw and real as possible. And for those of you online, I'm going to do another live today. I don't know if you are going to be awake, depending on where you are, when I have a couple of meetings. So I'm going to let this run in the background probably. Okay, so what medium do you suggest starting out with from an advertising perspective to build awareness of the service, such as AI agency, for example, Facebook, Instagram? Okay, so the first question is that who's your target client again? Okay, so let's say you have an AI agency. Okay, are you targeting, I'm assuming, businesses? Are they, what kinds of businesses? Are they, do you define them by size, by industry? And then I would say that if it's a B2B business, LinkedIn number one and YouTube. I would say YouTube number one and LinkedIn number two. YouTube is the quality platform. If you look at the metrics, I have them somewhere here actually. I'm going to pull them up for you. I really hope I find them, because this is going to be valuable to you. I looked at this stuff a while ago as far as where the fuck did I put them? Let me see if I find them here. Give me a sec. So this was from another content creator where he did a deep dive into all these platforms. I'm gonna give you the US median income of those households that, okay, here we go. Okay, so I'll give you the numbers, okay? So listen up. So 89% of the US population is on YouTube. And the median income, where the fuck is that? Bear with me. Oh, I'm sorry. So the percentage is here. What's the percentage of US households that have an income of 100K plus who are on that platform? So 89% of the people of the households that have an income of 100K plus are on YouTube. So it's by far the highest as far as income goes. On TikTok, it's only 27%. On Twitter/X, it's 29%. On LinkedIn, it's 53%, the second highest. I'm sorry, Instagram 54. They are kind of right there. Facebook 68%. So my point is this, that YouTube is the number 2 search platform, search engine in the world after Google. And if you think about if your startup is a B2B business, I would definitely be on LinkedIn. That's where everybody is. So start to figure out what kind of content, how to create attention on those platforms. So, and here's how I have done it, and here's how people who are much more successful than me have done it. Okay, so ask yourself, what does value mean to my business, to my audience? Okay, and then start providing value. Give. This is from Gary Vee's playbook directly. Give. Provide value until people ask. Give until people ask. Your job is to provide information and education. I started making videos. Again, I can use myself as an example, but if you trust somebody else who has a better quote-unquote track record, a longer history, the same thing. Provide value. Don't sell anything in the beginning. Try to help these people. So if I were you, if I had an AI marketing agency and my target customer is a B2B, let's say, company with anywhere between 1 to 10 employees in the construction industry, as an example. So I would be very specific in the beginning, then start talking about that stuff. Okay, how can I use AI in better plan my projects, run the project management, the quotation phase in the beginning, to avoid cost overruns. So give clear examples, start recording a lot of free content, how you are doing it, how you can help these people. Don't try to sell anything in the beginning. Just have a clear CTA, call to action, in the beginning of the video after you hook, and in the end saying, hey, if you want to hear more, Just, I offer this free consultation thing. That's how I do it. And that's how other people have done it who play the long game. If you start creating ads, it's a different, I mean, you might find that useful, but since you asked about to build awareness, okay, so you're talking about actually advertising perspective, but that's a different thing. So maybe your question was about content and which pieces of content that I turn into advertising. Again, other people have given me this piece of advice. Do a lot of volume, create a lot of ads. Create a lot of videos, try to help people, and then see which one of those pieces of content does well. And the one that went viral, then turn that into an ad, put some marketing dollars behind it. If it's a YouTube video, then promote it. Okay, if you look at my long form videos online, I have one YouTube video that went viral, probably has 300,000 views. Everything else is just mediocre or almost nothing. And I have promoted that a little bit. I have maybe put $200 or $300 behind that one. That's how I would do it. So a lot of volume, provide value, give, information, education, see which one takes off. And then if you want to run paid ads, it's a different story. Then start with Google, Facebook ads, but understand still your niche. Great stuff. Matt says, I'm an Uber driver at NYC, okay, 35 years old. I want to change my life and become a pilot. I thought I can document myself next 365 days to save and start a school, hopefully create a business. Perfect. So exactly that. So start creating endless amounts of social media content about your day. Document it. Tell people what you want to do. That's how I would do it. So this is my goal. Welcome to my life. And you would be surprised. People are interested in that stuff. You might have and I'm sure you will, you have a very unique perspective to life. That's your unique fingerprint. There's no one like you. Nobody can beat you at being you. This is really the important thing. It took me forever. I'm 48 now, look. And I wasn't scared to death, but I was terrified to start facing the camera. Then I've been doing it, you numb the pain, you do it, and then you just, it's there. That's a perfect plan. You want to become a pilot, you're an Uber driver, just like every time in between your rides, just, you can do this. Have the live running in the background and just mute it when you have a person or, somebody you give a ride to in the car, and then just like unmute and talk about stuff, talk about life or talk about your plan of becoming a pilot, then create a, horizontal video, like a quote unquote regular YouTube video at home when you're studying for the test, or run another live. Create a business later or go. Okay, so but you don't have to decide that yet. First step is just to become a pilot. Put together a plan. How long does it take? What needs to be done? That's a traditional gap analysis. Okay, so where am I today? Where do I want to go? Okay, from point A to point B. Then your number one job is to listen to those people who have done what you're trying to do. Talk to other people. Reach out to other people on online discussion forums, asking them, what did you guys do when you had a different career in the past and you wanted to become a pilot? What is it that I don't know that I should know? Meaning, what's my ignorance net? What should I know that I don't know right now? What's the biggest hurdle? What are the biggest obstacles? And then you can decide later if you want to start your own, pilot education business or become a pilot. But I would first focus on just getting the credentials, getting the education, so the training. I see many things every day and talk lots of random customers, very interesting. But yeah, absolutely. New York City, there's nothing like New York City. Imagine what kind of conversations you have. You could even have videos of you summarizing the conversations you had with people in your taxi cab or in your Uber car. That would be interesting. For privacy reasons, you can't show their face or reveal anything, obviously, but I mean, it's just, I mean, our mind is the biggest limitation. When I started this live, I had no idea what I was going to do. I don't have a script. But then just figure it out when you start talking to people. And like, you can see my audience is non-existing. I started freaking 4 days ago. I don't know how this is going to go. The reason why I started was that I got this invitation from YouTube. There's this boot camp. This guy, his name is Hamza. He's a partner manager at YouTube. And they claim we were pre-selected. I don't know if that's bullshit, but I guess they say that they see potential and whatnot. Okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I got an invitation. It's not like the whole world got, but I still got one. This is good. So I've been watching their videos. I was like, why the fuck am I doing this? It's like, you know, this is a perfect platform for me. It just takes time. Yeah, it takes time, but that's fine. You know, that's how I have to do it. Yeah, I mean, New York City, there's nothing like New York City. I just saw that you guys had a shooting there. I hope everybody's okay. Well, not everybody, unfortunately. Well, it's okay because I guess some people got killed, but that's just crazy shit. Yeah, I mean, no worries. No worries. Do you have any suggestion in terms of systems like those of customer management and collecting payments? I actually have Shopify for credit card payments. I'm not the biggest expert, but today, I mean, you know AI probably better than me because you're considering a business there or you already have one. Customer management, so you talk about CRM softwares. Just there's plenty. I don't have any. I've used several of them. Search, it would be my thing. Maybe talk to AI, say, you know, this is what I want to do. What do you recommend to me? That's what I always do. I use Shopify for my collecting my credit card payments from my clients. It gives me the reports. It's affordable in my opinion. So that would be my thing, but I'm not the biggest expert in terms of that. But CRM, I don't think you can go wrong with many of them. Just see if there's anything that's industry specific who has tailored their service or product, I'm sorry, according to your needs. That would be my recommendation. Just starting out with, okay, you're just starting out, okay. Yeah, just look at Shopify. You can send me a DM if you want an email, and I can let you know what I did. But CRM, I just honestly right now, I don't have that many clients. I have 5 paying clients for my coaching business. I just have an Excel spreadsheet for that stuff for CRM. You know, it's the thing you need it for the most is tracking leads. When you have a lot of leads coming in, then you need to have a system in place. But if you just run it for your paying clients, it's just, as long as you don't have too many of them. But just pick something that's affordable in the beginning and you can switch then later. Don't spend too much time on it. If you're starting out, okay, so here's my 2 cents. Yeah, spreadsheet works. Absolutely, it does. Here's the thing. In the beginning, spend as much time as possible and as long as it takes to understand who your potential client is and what does value mean to them. So literally break the value chain into bits and pieces, the more specific you are. So here's what I always do. I divide the value chain into 3 pieces: before, during, and after. Okay, so I just created this. I was interested in starting this massage business. Okay, I'll give you an example, which I didn't do, but I had this partner and well, potential partner. She's really good at. Here's how it started. So I have sports massage every 2 weeks. Okay, I train hard, so I need that. My body wants that. Okay, so I've been using massage services for 25 years, maybe 30 years. So I've seen them in so many different countries. I've lived in different countries and I have a lot of expertise as a client, okay? So I knew that it would be the type of service and quality that she can provide, my massage therapist, would be, I was like, okay, so there aren't that many companies here in this country that have been able to productize that, create a brand for themselves. And I saw a huge opportunity to replicate that level level of competence, and I knew that the bottleneck would be training, finding the right people and training and keeping them. That's like retaining, hiring, training, retaining would be that's the business you're in actually. I put together a business plan, but the same formula applied. I looked at that. I put myself in the customer's shoes or in the client's shoes, and I divided the value chain into before, during, and after. So here's what I would suggest you do too. So if you, let's say, I'm just simplifying this now. If you want to create an AI marketing service business for, let's say, I don't know, the real estate company, the construction companies, whatever. Okay, put yourself in their shoes, understand what they struggle with. Okay, before, during, and after, meaning before would in that case be if it's a construction company, what happens before the construction, the work even begins? What happens during the construction time, and then what happens after? Put yourself in their shoes, in their client's shoes. Okay, if I was somebody who was in that position, so let's say using that massage business example, so I put myself in the client's shoes, in the customer's shoes. I was like, okay, so how do I book an appointment? What bottlenecks are there? What are the pain points? I list every single pain point related to before, during, and after. Really trying to go like as detailed as, okay, there isn't enough parking. How do I find parking when I go and see my favorite massage therapist? And that would put me in a position to really understand everything, the value from the paying client's perspective. And then the next step is that you find solutions to every single problem. Okay? At that point, don't worry about how expensive or easy or hard it is to fix those problems, so to say. Just focus on finding the problems and then finding the solutions to them. And then after that, you prioritize. And then that priority becomes your offer. See what I mean? So right now, don't worry about Excel spreadsheets or paying systems. Worry about, maybe you have done this already, good for you if you have. If you haven't, I suggest you focus on this, because this is how you separate yourself from the rest of the competition, by understanding what value means. You don't have to worry about competition if you truly, deeply understand what the client needs. Yeah, thanks. But it all boils down to understanding what these people need. If you can provide value, people are always willing to pay for it. But so few people truly understand value. Not just you, but what is it that the client needs? And ask yourself, what's the business? What business am I in? Yeah, you would say, okay, I'm in the AI marketing business, but no, that's not it. So what's the number one thing that you need to get right to succeed in that business? Like I said, if I was in the business of trying to create a massage chain, right? So turn one location into several locations, turn it into a business, okay? I would not be in the massage business. I would be in the business of hiring the right massage therapists, training them, making sure that they all can deliver the same level of service that this one massage lady can, that I'm seeing. And then how do I retain these people? So you're in the business of finding, training, and keeping talent. That's how you can turn that into a business. See what I mean? You're not in the massage business. If I run a commercial gym, what business am I in? I'm not in the gym business. I mean, I'm talking about making it, turn it into a successful business. I'm in the business of acquiring customers. If you think about it, every single gym, people go, churn is the issue. So people start after their New Year's resolution, and then they quit. The shiny object syndrome that I talked about previously. Then they quit. Then they join again, and then you're in the constant business of acquiring new talent. Not talent, customers. So putting together different marketing campaigns. How do I have a lead magnet, and how do I turn this into a 6-week booty camp and, get back in shape for Easter or whatever the thing is. So you're in the constant business of acquiring new customers, because a certain amount will leave all the time. Yes, the facilities matter, the equipment matter, how clean it is. Of course, that's important. But ultimately, you're in the constant business of acquiring customers. You need to have the machine running. If I run a real estate business, I started doing fix and flips and larger renovations and whatnot. If you know real estate, you know that opportunities are limited. The next question, because there is no more land in those inner city areas where you want to be, where the values keep rising, where most of the demand is, right? So you're in the business of acquiring and finding opportunities. How do I do that? I build relationships with real estate agents and homeowners so that I can acquire opportunities. Because basically, real estate is a commodity, housing is a commodity. It's very transparent, the values. If you sell a bread and butter, cookie cutter, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, there are several comps out there. It's almost impossible to, sell your comparable property for higher than what everybody else is doing. So your market price is here. How you make your money is making sure that you buy it right. So how do I find those opportunities? That's what it boils down to. So in that case, I would be in the business of finding deals, building relationships. Of course, I have to know how to do the rehabs and what features matter. That's, of course, I'm not saying that that's not important, but ultimately, if I want to grow that business, I need to understand what that one bottleneck is. That is my true limiting factor. I hope this is valuable. That's how I look at it. It's all good. Any other questions? Great questions today, by the way. Seems that my morning sessions have been more productive than my evening stuff, but I haven't had too many of these evening lives. So today I will have one. I'm going to have one running in the background when I do my coaching call and then my meeting with my social media guy. Thank you. Great example and approach and value chain. This is good stuff. Appreciate it. Any other questions? Shoot. Other than that, I'm going to end pretty soon probably. I'm getting hungry. I need to go make my breakfast and then start writing that script because I need to record tomorrow already. Fuck, man. Yeah, it has to be out on Thursday. That means that I have to be ready today with the script and then get my feedback from my guy and then do it on Wednesday, meaning tomorrow, to record tomorrow. I have to record tomorrow. What else did I write? Okay, if I go back to my journal, look at a couple of more entries here. What I wrote on May 9th, real estate market will be in deep freeze still the next couple of years. Work on an alternate plan to make money, build a brand, give yourself a chance to compete. This is related to the Finnish market here about real estate. It's been a tough go, a tough ride the last couple of years. The bottom fell off. And this is when I was still contemplating as far as what to do. Well, I had launched already my YouTube stuff and whatnot, but then I wrote also on the same day, sell the house, spend time in Spain next winter, turn your goals into reality, build a new business, show everyone you can do it. This is just some motivational stuff to myself. What I ended up doing was that I sold my house. I had a relatively large house. And I bought this smaller apartment in the central location, which was my thing because I want to spend winter somewhere else than in colder climates. I've been doing a lot of that over the last 3 years. And I just booked a trip. I'm going to be starting beginning of November. I'm going to be in Spain for a little over a month before Christmas. And then my plan is to be there also maybe do another month or so after Christmas instead of traveling like 10 times a year. I mean, last 3 years I've traveled a lot with my kids and solo too, like probably averaging like 10 trips a year. Of course, it gets expensive to be like spend a week every month somewhere else. So instead of doing that, I'm going to go and do a longer stint. And my long-term goal, when my kids get older, they're now 19 and 16, is to start living in this hybrid mode, what I call it a hybrid mode, where I spend summers here. And then here is Scandinavia right now. I'm in Finland right now. And then the summer here is the best, in my opinion, in the world. But winter not, definitely not. So then spend the winter somewhere else and summers here, of course, depending on what my kids do. But that's how I look at it. And not sure if anybody who's online right now has heard this before, but I just like, what I spend a lot of time on is understanding, talking to myself, understanding what my intuition tells me. I'm actually pretty good at it, I think. I've always been a deep thinker, and I've always been able to have that connection with my inner energy, my gut, my intuition. And the older I get, the more clear it gets all the time. And now I just have 3 priorities in life: my kids, my training, and my business. And I know pretty well what I need to do between now and when I'm 90 or 100, or when I'm out of time. And then I just know that I have to do it, because regret is the thing that scares me the most. Honestly, somebody asked me, was it yesterday morning, what are my fears? What am I afraid of? I pretty much gave this one answer only, saying that my biggest fear in life, other than something, hopefully never, knock on wood, hopefully never anything happens to my kids, but beyond that I have regrets when I'm out of time. Literally. It's like, I'm not afraid of losing money. I'm not afraid of losing face, or people humiliating me, or saying that I'm an idiot, I look stupid in front of the camera. Of course I know that. But it's just, what scares me the most is regret at the end of the day. I've been very fortunate, because I've done a lot of hard stuff, that I don't regret anything. The first 48 years, almost 49 years, I have 0 regrets, literally. I have made plenty of mistakes, that's a different thing, but I have no regrets. I've always done everything that I wanted to do. Start businesses from scratch, live in different countries, travel, whatever. Leave bad relationships, even though it's been super fucking hard. But I've been brave in that sense. But I have decided that I will live the exact same way. I floor it. I go full steam ahead until something breaks. Then I try to fix it, do my best. If not, then I'll live with the consequences. But as long as I don't have any regrets at the end of the day. And I think, and why is this such a big thing for me? Because I've done a lot of research and read about stuff that 78% of the people in their retirement homes, in their 80s or whatever, 78%, think about it, almost 80%, 8 out of 10, they regret the things they never did when they had time. So when people say that, yeah, I live my life, I don't worry about tomorrow, maybe, but when you're out of time, all of a sudden, when everything kind of like comes to a standstill, you most likely are like everybody else, and you start thinking about the things they didn't do. People don't regret the mistakes they made. I know that. I don't regret them either. But we have to do epic shit. And whatever epic means, sometimes it's an epic story where you fail big time or succeed big time. But regret is the thing that scares me the most. That's why when I read through my notes here, if you were to pay attention to or see many of these sessions or whatnot, you would hear this thing, a recurring theme, where I talk about things that I want to do so that I have no regrets. And people ask, when I have conversations with my friends, I say the same thing all the time. I keep motivating myself on a daily basis by simply asking, what is it that I need to do today so that I have 0 regrets when I'm 90. That's what works for me. So whatever rocks your boat, whatever keeps you moving, do it. You don't have to copy my stuff. in any way. I'm not expecting you to, but if you get tips here and there, same thing applies here. 10% applies probably. 90% of what I say is noise to you, most likely, because you're not me. 90% of what people tell you is noise. What the media tells you, what your school tells you, what your parents tell you, what your friends tell you, 90% of that shit is just noise. Make sure you find what that 10% is that applies to you, and then keep saying no to everything else. Regrets. This is a big one. Thank you for the time and inspirational suggestions. Get your breakfast and be well. Thank you again. I appreciate that. Thank you for your cooperation and all the good comments and questions. I enjoy doing this, so if you have anything, so just like, let me know. I'm gonna stay here online for another maybe 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna start making my breakfast. It's not even 7 here. I've been out for fucking 2 hours. Man, I already feel the headache. Oh man, I have a long day. What about you guys? What are you up to? Whoever is online. What's your signal for today? If I were to give anybody any advice, which obviously I'm in no position to do so, but still, I'm going to offer my 2 cents. Consider this: every day you wake up, or you can do it the night before, but I would suggest you do it the morning when you wake up, because our feelings are different. A night might reset the whole playing field for you. Ask yourself every morning, or write that down. What's today's signal? What's today's noise? And just focus on that signal. Ask yourself, what moves my ball forward the most today in giant leaps? And then just do that. Ignore the rest. Hard. One of the hardest things in life. But if you want to live life on your own terms and be free and independent, which is my ultimate goal, that's all I got to do. I mean, I told my daughter, and I keep telling this to everybody, and if you keep hearing this, if you hear this same thing from me, my bad, but I think we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught in life. I'm going to keep reminding this one thing to my kids, that they are actually in the business of ignoring 90% of what's out there, literally 90%. And I think most people do it in the opposite way, meaning they try to listen to 90% and ignore 10%. Like almost everything in life. If everybody does it that way, ask yourself, why is it that everybody does it that way? I think the right way for me is probably the opposite. When everybody sells, buy. When everybody buys, sell. If you want to be average, that's fine, quote unquote normal. I'm not. I just want to do things my way. And I desperately want to be free and independent. And I think that's what it takes to make sure that you just ignore all the noise. It's so freaking hard. It is so hard. The reason why, again, reading my notes, the reason why many consumer brands don't grow is that they come from the TV world, where you measure 500 times and cut once. One piece of content is not enough. No vanilla Baskin and Robbins. This is from Gary Vee. Basically what he says is that if you are a business owner and you start creating content online using social media, which according to him is still the biggest untapped potential or opportunity for many businesses, is that you can't just approach it the TV way. It's not going to work. Social media is about creating stories. People want to see those stories, and if you see a traditional ad that used to do well as a Super Bowl ad, it doesn't mean that it does well as a social media piece of marketing. If you want to live life on your own terms, be your own boss, choose your own life schedule, and be financially free, it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. It's a 1% life. These are just the journal entries I keep reading here to usually start my day. And now in this live stream to have discussion points. And I like this. I'm going to keep doing this because this benefits me. And then I get to explain my my things to other people, which again helps me, which might help you. So I hope it's a win-win. There is no balance. Everybody's balance is different. You can't go hard on something you don't love. You will burn yourself out. Okay, I actually love reading these. Another huge one, some of my life philosophies. So there is no balance. People telling you what you should do is just complete bullshit. There is no should word. Don't listen to anybody who tells you what you should do, because they're trying to convince you to live life their way, because they are most likely insecure and they have a hard time accepting that your way is different than theirs. Okay? Another thing, you can't go hard on something you don't love. You will burn yourself out. That's absolutely true. I haven't had a day off in, I don't know, in 2 years or whatever. I don't feel like I'm working. I do what I enjoy. This is my passion. So if you live for the weekends and if you hate Mondays, I think you're in the wrong job. I hope you're not in that boat. And there's, by the way, this doesn't mean that everybody needs to be an entrepreneur. Quite the opposite. I have the most amount of respect to those people who do what they do, low income, high income job, doesn't matter. If they enjoy what they do and they don't complain. I just admire those people, literally. I see a person at a grocery store working as a cashier and they smile every day and they enjoy going to work, they enjoy dealing with people. I love seeing that. I just like, honestly, this gives me so much gratitude to see people who enjoy what they do. I guess part of that is maybe because I have been always looking for that thing myself. And that, like, nothing is ever enough. And somewhat that deep insecurity that gives me that huge fuel and drive and energy every day is what keeps me going. So maybe I'm kind of like, I've always wondered if that's something I should have more, being just completely satisfied with the status quo. But I know that it's never me. So I was meant to keep grinding and keep going and just like keep improving. And as long as I understand it's an infinite game, like I mentioned in the beginning of the live session, not a finite game, there is no end point, I'm fine. I thought there was a comment. There is not. Okay. It's 7 here. I've been doing this for almost 78 minutes now. It's not that I'm counting, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 5 hours. Again, I appreciate all the comments. I'm gonna go and make my breakfast now. And I'm gonna log back in, let me think, 3 p.m. here local time. What time is it now? 7 a.m. So that's in 8 hours, right? Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing it. So hopefully by then I have my script ready, and then I'm gonna let this live run in the background for a couple of hours, maybe mute myself occasionally, and see if people get value out of it. That's my goal. Hopefully I can help somebody. Anyhow, thanks a lot. I'll talk to you later. Bye.